Are you going to the gym, lifting weights, but you're not seeing any progress? Going to the gym is all well and good, but if you don't have a few key things in place, the progress you see in there can be massively limited. Some of you may be experiencing this right now, you may have experienced it in the past, or you may in the future. So today, I'm going to help you avoid that. These things are going to make sure you start seeing progress in the gym, but also translate well to your life outside of the gym. Your physique, your confidence, and how you feel. Let's get into it. For anyone new around here, hi, I'm Joe. I'm a Team GB gymnast turned fat loss coach, and I help people build a body that they love and confidence to match with my online educational content and coaching services. For more advice on fat loss, hit the first link in the description. I've put everything you need to know to narrow your focus when it comes to losing fat and weight, and it's going to make it so much less complicated, and you can grab that just for absolutely free. And I also help people day in, day out achieve their fitness and fat loss goals. So if you want to find out more about hiring me as your coach to finally start seeing progress, hit the second link. The first mistake I see people making is thinking that training is all you need to do when it comes to fat loss. When it comes to fat loss, training is just one small part. Everything that surrounds training is vital. Nutrition, sleep, stress management and recovery are all going to play a critical role when it comes to fat loss. If your goal is trying to lose fat and you're focusing too much on the training before you've even got a calorie deficit, your nutrition locked in and everything you need to succeed, it's not going to end well. You're not going to see the progress that you want to see or that you think you deserve from your hard work. Get a calorie deficit locked in, make sure you're burning more calories day to day than you are consuming. This is key when it comes to fat loss. So we've gathered actually we should be focusing on what we do outside of the gym before we get in there. But when we get in there, what mistakes could you be making? Not performing exercises with correct form. This is one I see all the time, and especially when a client comes to me and they've not had a coach before, maybe they've never had somebody look at how they're performing an exercise in the gym. We narrow that down and focus on that straight away because it is so important. Bad form is one of the most common reasons why you may not be seeing progress, but also it has a massively high risk of meaning you can get injured, which could put you out of the game for a long time. It may be causing a plateau. If you're not doing the exercise correctly, that means you're probably not working the muscle or muscles that you are wanting to work correctly, meaning they're not getting correct stimulus for growth and not being worked effectively, and it could be halting your progress. It can lead to imbalances, even injury, and may mean that a lot of what you're doing in the gym isn't benefiting you properly. Yes, you can obviously make progress without everything being absolutely optimal, but you could be missing out on some serious gains and some serious progress here. Master the movement, nail it down, make sure you are doing it properly and perfectly before you think about upping the weight. Quality reps beat sloppy ones always. The next mistake I see people making when it comes to training is lifting too heavy too soon. This builds on the last point about form. Often I can see people in the gym, and I understand why it happens. They think to get stronger, to build more muscle and create a physique that is going to be revealed by that fat loss, they need to be lifting really heavy weights. But that's not always the case. If they are so focused on lifting heavy weights, they want to improve, maybe impress people around them. Yeah, look, I'm squatting 100 kilos. They can be missing out on making sure they've got the correct form for that movement locked in. Like when you've not got proper form, this can massively increase the risk of injury because you're essentially putting load on your body that it's not ready for. To get your muscles to grow, you need to be putting them under stress. And putting them under stress happens by progressively overloading exercises in the gym or training. This is only making them slightly harder session, week to week, month to month, whatever it is. The intensity is increasing, but this shouldn't compromise the form. It doesn't mean you can only make progress, only build muscle if you are lifting massive weights. The muscle doesn't know what exercise or exactly how much weight it is lifting. It knows the force and the stress that it is placed under. It's getting broken down. Little micro tears are occurring when you are completing the exercise, and the building process happens after training during the recovery process. You don't have to be lifting massive, really heavy weights as soon as you get in the gym to help see progress. You don't need to be doing that. The best place to start is to build a solid foundation like a house and build up from there. That way you can apply progressive overload and start seeing great progress with correct form and reducing the risk of injury. Start there. Leave your ego at the door. We've talked about people who lift too much weight too soon, but what also happens and what I see from people is they don't train hard enough or with sufficient intensity, and they are just going through the motions when they go into the gym. Turning up is great, and don't get me wrong, it's really important, but if you're turning up and doing the same thing day in, day out, can you expect different results? If you've been following a plan for the last couple of years and you're not happy with the progress you've made or where you are, maybe your dedication and commitment isn't the problem. Maybe it's what you're doing in the gym. If every session, every exercise you do feels comfortable and doesn't challenge you, the muscles are going to have no reason to change or adapt or grow. They don't need to. Your body is very clever and it gets used to the exercises, the training intensity, what you're doing very quickly. We've talked about the most important principle of progressive overload and how gradually increasing the intensity of what we're doing over time is how we make progress and build muscle and get stronger. But we haven't spoke about one key principle, muscular failure. This is vital. Research shows that training close to muscular failure is one of the key drivers when it comes to strength improvements and muscular hypertrophy, growing size. It's going to depend on your goals and what you're trying to achieve. Obviously, every single exercise and every single rep and every single session shouldn't be absolutely 10 out of 10 intensity on that RPE scale that we use, rate of perceived exertion, but the last couple of reps on your sets, you should be struggling with. If you're working to, let's say, 3 sets of 10, nice and simple, if you can just complete 3 sets of 10 reps every session you go to the gym, your body's used to that. It's not progressing, it's just maintaining. If you want to see change and progression, whether it's strength or hypertrophy based, you need to be struggling and putting the muscles in a position and a place where they're struggling and under stress. Maybe the last couple of reps you're struggling with. There's lots of different techniques you can do here, and this is often where people get kind of mixed up. The most basic thing you can do is up the weight until you can only get 8, 9 reps out of 10, absolutely fine, and work on trying to get those extra reps. Then when you achieve that goal, you can maybe up the weight and expect to have slightly fewer reps. That is progressive overload in the most simplest form. There's lots of different things you can do with the tempo, you can do rest, pause training, there's so many different things. But on the face of it, that is where you should start. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I see people in the gym make is they are not hitting muscle groups that they want to develop or grow twice a week. Research shows that hitting each muscle group at least twice per week leads to significantly better strength and hypertrophy gains. I explained this to a client the other day who'd kind of been going into the gym before he joined the program and following a bro split. He'd go in and train chest and then train legs and then train arms. And what I explained to him is when we looked at his volume over the 7 days, he was actually rarely hitting each muscle group twice. He may have a really good session on chest, but then we had 6 days until the chest was worked effectively again. If you can hit each muscle group twice per week, we are essentially, if you were like that client, doubling your volume that the muscles are subject to. This volume is going to be essential when it comes to muscle growth and strength when trying to achieve a fat loss goal. And last but not least, a mistake that you may be making is following the same plan for too long. Life can catch up with us, and you may have been at the gym months or even years doing the same thing, and then you expect different results. Remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. Your body is extremely clever and it's going to adapt to what you are doing. And I work with so many people who come and join me and they say, oh, I'm going to the gym all the time. And when I delve into the problem that they're not seeing any progress, it's actually because they realize they've been doing the same thing for ages. And I'll come in and say, do this, do this, do this. Oh, we need to push here, here, here. How does this feel? What are you doing? And then suddenly they start seeing all this progress. If you haven't changed the exercises, the sets, the reps, the intensity, maybe the tempo, your training goals, your progress will stall. It's then the job of a good coach reviewing this, what went well, what are you doing, what do you want to achieve, what are you actually training for? Is this a specific fat loss goal? Are you getting ready for a holiday? Have you not got a holiday for another 4 months, so you're going to have a slightly different goal when you're in the gym? What is it? Having this process in place is like 90% of the work I do as a coach, and making sure people stick to it, so when we get to the end of it, we can review, see what went well, what areas we need to work on, what goals have changed, and then push forwards and put the specific and needed changes in place to make that progress happen. Regularly reviewing and evolving your plan will keep the progress coming in one form or another. Hopefully this has hit some of the mistakes that you may or may not be making in the gym and help you to push on to your next training rotation successfully. For more fat loss and training advice like the bits in this video, the first link in the description, I've put everything you need to know about fat loss and training. It's going to give you all the advice you need to get started on your journey. And if you want to find out more about hiring me as your coach, I do this as a job and help people with their training, with their nutrition, and maybe just being there in the WhatsApp community we have as a friend, daily support, whatever you need, just when it gets hard, or to celebrate and give you a high five when you get a new lowest weight or you hit a new PB on your lift. Hit the second link in the description. It's going to tell you everything about my program. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It'd be great to have you around here. And YouTube's going to suggest a video here that is probably going to be myth busting, fitness specific, maybe about training or nutrition. And you're probably going to love it because you watched this one.